What's up everyone? So in this video, I'll be teaching you how to write an effective statement of purpose or study plan or letter of intent or letter of explanation if you are applying as an international student for your student visa or study permit in Canada. And what is a statement of purpose? Ano nga ba ang study plan? Basically, this document or this file is one of the most important things that you have to have para sa application niyo for an international student for your study permit. It is an essay, so kailangan po natin magsulat ng isang very convincing narrative or very convincing story about yourself. And basically it boils down to two things, the two important things na dapat nilalaman ng ating statement of purpose. It is the reason for studying in Canada and your post-study plans. All right, so we'll be talking about the top tips that I have for everybody who's watching this to share with you based on my journey and the process that I used when I was applying for my study permit. Thankfully, just got approved actually a few months back. And yeah, so we'll go through the different tips. Okay, so bakit nga ba? Why listen or why spend your time listening to what I have to say to you about this study permit? Well, number one, first and foremost, siguro is I was able to write an effective statement of purpose. I was able to have it approved. Actually, it's a family application, so I applied for a family of 4, and I'll be actually sharing the document itself, yung ginawa ko, yung sinulat ko, as well as the LOIs that I wrote for my children, for my wife as well. So another thing that I want to share with you is that I've been working in marketing and communications in this industry for like 12 years already. And most of my work involves writing and reviewing and editing content or advertising copy in the marketing language written by other writers, as well as proofreading, editing, and clearing communication materials. So I hope that gives some credibility to what I have to share with you, because I really want to help. And yeah, we'll be going through all of these different tips, and I hope these are going to be guiding you as you write, revise, and edit your SOPs. So in this video, medyo titingin ako sa baba dahil isinulat ko po para sa inyo. I wrote all of these things down that I'll be sharing with you in just a few seconds. Okay, sorry. Okay, forgot to introduce or even say my name. So I'm Julian. So this video is actually the start of documenting our journey to Canada, our family journey, and yun lang. So gonna be cutting this into the previous clip. Number one, or I guess the first point na kailangan natin i-go through as you write your statement of purpose or your SOP, condensed tayo. SOP is to be clear on the goal and objective for the letter. Of course, alam naman natin na your goal is to get that permit, get that study permit, and largely or in the and from the big picture perspective, gusto natin, well, for most of us or majority of us to be able to start that life in Canada, get that first foot in as a student, no? But for this video, for this tip actually, I want you to be able to clarify kung ano yung goal nyo, or have to remember that goal or objective for the letter. The objective of your letter is to be able to explain clearly to the visa officer or the VO reviewing your documents kung bakit karapat-dapat or why do you deserve or why are you qualified for your student visa. Okay, so I have to call this out because the SOP is not a place for you to, share your life story. That is not the goal of the SOP. The goal is to be able to convince the visa officer that you deserve that permit that you are applying for. There are basically three W's that you have to keep in mind as you clarify yung goal ng letter nyo, letter natin. So basically, these are, okay, who you are. So syempre, kailangan mong ipakilala sarili mo in as brief, or ibig sabihin in as short as way as possible. The second W would be what your qualifications are. So if you have any work experience, academic experience in the past, you should be able to answer that or show that in your SOP. And then thirdly, you also have to answer the question why you are suitable to be taking that program in Canada, and why you are suitable to be granted this approval for your permit. I can share with you my SOP. Perhaps gagawa tayo ng breakdown or like a guided walkthrough of my actual approved SOP. I'll be going through that in a video. Dito kasi I want to be able to share with you the tips to guide you. I believe kasi the best way to start your SOP is writing it yourself, parang draft. Okay, for a writer, usually pag may nakita ko yung articles, blogs, or any finished body of text or body of content, nagsisimula po tayo una sa drafts. So what are the main questions that will be guiding you for your draft? Okay, ito yung mga main or primary questions natin. Who you are, nasabi natin kanina yon. So this is where you put in your schooling, right? Your work experience. But keep in mind, when yung sinabi ko kanina na keep it brief, you don't have to, with regard to your schooling, you don't really have to put in, unless it's very relevant, you don't really have to put in why you chose that course. Just be factual about it. Or even if it's not relevant dun sa step na tinitake nyo, which is applying for this international visa, for your work experience as well, you don't have to put in the tasks and responsibilities that you have. This is not a work application na kailangan nyo ilagay yung JD ninyo. I've seen a lot of SOPs that have this. For example, I then was accepted as a blank blank job title, and my responsibilities were blank 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 blank. And then susulat niya yung next job or role niya, and then do the same. It actually pads or puts in unnecessary words to your SOP and specifically sa portion of who you are. Okay, so yung philosophy ko kasi about SOPs is I really want the visa officer to have an easy time to review my letter at nang hindi siya ma-confuse. The next question that you have to answer for your SOP is why Canada? Alam naman natin lahat why Canada, you want to start a new life there. But specifically, there are definitely other courses in the world, in the Philippines, let's say in the US, in the UK, in Australia, that most likely offers the course that you are applying for. So why do you want to study in Canada? Of course, I wouldn't advise you to say that it's because life is better there, because that will give them a clue, kumbaga, na that what you really planned is to stay there. It's kind of weird nga na how you have to hide the fact sometimes, sort of, when you're writing that your end goal is to really, apply for PR. For most student applicants, yun naman talaga yung path na kinukuha after graduating. But why Canada is your chance to say or to state bakit out of all of these foreign countries, why Canada has a good study program for you, right? So this would entail this would require a bit more research. In my case, I researched about, the program I'm taking involves digital marketing heavily, or focus on digital marketing. So ang ginawa ko nun, I research about are there any globally ranked or top in the world or best in the world digital marketing agencies? Or are there any training programs that have good certifications in that field? Let's say in digital marketing, it would be Google, Facebook related, SEO related programs. So depending on what kind of program or course that you are gonna be applying for, or that you've already applied for and got accepted in, you have to elaborate why Canada yung napili nyo. Of course, you will also put in there the good quality of life. I think one of the things that is effective kapag i-state nyo would be yung quality of life in Canada would contribute to a safe, secure, and enjoyable study environment. And you can also mention that how welcoming Canada is to international students also would help in motivating you to find a peer group or group of students, hindi naman sa friends, or well, friends who can move you towards your academic goal. Another question that you really have to answer in your SOP is why you chose that program, right? Ano yung magiging benefit sa'yo ng program na ito? For people who are like me, who are already in the mid part of their career. So again, I mentioned earlier, I've been working already for 12 years and I've reached a good amount of success in my field already in the companies I've worked with, leading teams, being heads of teams. So you have to put in why your program is beneficial for you at this stage of your career or at this stage of your schooling. Siguro if you are a fresh grad or if you are an SHS student, your reasons will be different. But for me, one of the reasons why I chose a digital marketing course in Canada is because it's one of the skill sets that I lack as a marketer. Of course, mayroon tayong mga inad na reasons to, amplify or strengthen kung bakit ko talaga napili yung course na yun. But that is very important to answer in your SOP. Bakit yun yung programa na napili mo? Especially for people who are gonna be taking a program that is not that related or not that connected sa tinapos mo, what you finished or what you graduated from, or the majority of your experience at work. So I've seen some SOPs na approved and denied na yung kunwari they took up something unrelated like nursing, for example, and then they want to take up a business course in Canada. Some people would say that they're gonna be planning to put up a business related to something they discovered in their work experience, kunwari in the medical field, and that's something that we're gonna be touching on in the next point, which is what are your post-study plans? Okay, so some people ngayon sa mga groups that I've been part of, for me, they outright say that their plans are to apply for PR or apply for work in Canada to get experience. I believe yung post-study plan niya should focus on how the course that you'll be hopefully graduating from in Canada will help your plans for your career or for your business, for example. One of the things I also see na hindi masyadong nagagawa would be taking specific courses or subjects from your course and then putting it in your SOP and detailing or writing how it will help yung plano nyo. For example, in my case, I got, I think, 4 specific subjects from my digital marketing course. One of them was website development or website design. So I put in there why, so kumbaga i-highlight mo siya as why it will be beneficial for your future career. Right? So right now, I don't really actually know how to design a website or how to develop a website, but that will be able to land me more jobs that have something to do with website design, website development, or what we call user experience or user interface, UX, UI. Things I know about for working for so long, but I don't know how to do. So in my post-study plan, I also talked about knowing how to do those, or knowing or getting those skills, being able to learn those skills from instructors or professors would help me in being able to market myself as a digital marketing consultant, let's say. Or kunwari, your study plan is, balik tayo sa example na nurse. you want to take up something business related, let's say business management, for example, business administration. So in your post-study plan, you have, let's say you have to select a few courses that would help you put up that business. What do you hope to learn? So step one, I believe, would be really looking at your course outline. Ano ba yung mga subjects that you will be taking in your program, and then you highlight, make notes. Ano yung because of that Canadian class of or high class Canadian education will help you achieve your post-study plans for your career, for your business, or whatever. And of course, post-study plans dito, papasok din yung parang home ties. They really want to be sure that you will not be overstaying in Canada, and that you have plans to continue your career, to continue your studies, to continue or start your business back in your home country. Lastly, one of the main questions, so this is not the end of the video naman, but one of the main questions you have to answer in your SOP is, how will you fund, or paano nyo po pupuntahan yung not just your schooling, but your whole stay in Canada, especially if you are traveling as a family, like kami, family of 4. So this is where you will put in is your funding, yung pera nyo ba is galing from your own savings? Do you have a sponsor? Do you have good income from businesses or assets that you have? Let's say meron kang rental passive income source, like rent some rental units, rental condos, that will be enough to fund your stay. So ano yung stay nyo? Of course, there's a basic breakdown or calculation or projection na minimum requirement that you can check in the IRCC or the official Canada website, that you'll be able to pay for your tuition first up to second year. But to be more convincing, yung up to second year up to your full academic expenses, kumbaga, to pay for your rent or your accommodation. Some people who are fortunate have family or people who will be sponsoring their accommodation, or dun sila titira. You should also be able to show you have enough funds to manage your daily living comfortably. Meron kang pagkain, so basically that, your utilities, your accommodation, your food, syempre hindi naman tayo pwede magutom, and your schooling, you have to be able to write that in your SOP, na you're gonna be able to fund your whole student journey. Here are 4 extra or bonus tips for you na I don't really see many people sharing, okay? Number 1, okay? This is hindi naman sa hot topic, but there are varying opinions, many opinions about the length of your SOP. Gaano nga ba talaga kahaba or kaikli? There are some people who are like, oh, you should really keep it to 2 pages. You should keep it to 4. And there are some people na write their SOPs umaabot ng sobrang habang novela, short story naman, 7 pages, or for example. There's also I remember a few months back dun sa Facebook group, for one of the biggest Facebook groups of international students. If you're not a member, you should. You can search it na lang on Facebook. Would be like a 1-page SOP, and she got approved, and it's really amazing how she was able to do that. Kudos to yung galing-galing mo. But in terms of length, I think it's relative, meaning case-to-case basis. But I won't leave you with an unclear or vague answer like that. So, ano ibig sabihin na when length is relative? Yung length of your SOP should really be dependent on na-communicate mo ba yung gusto mong sabihin. In my case, originally, yung SOP ko, 7 pages. I drafted my SOP March 2020. Okay? March 2020. I got approved March 2022. March 8, 2022. Got our approval. I applied pala January of 2022. 58 days, I think, or 54 days yung approval. Thank God. But anyway, yung final na nasubmit kong SOP was about 4 pages. There were some people advising me on some group chats to keep it to 2 talaga, like trim it down, ganto ganyan. So I posted my SOP on the groups in some Facebook groups, until umabot sa point na I got more comments na it was clear. Alright? So when you're writing any piece of content, yung length should be able to not really be a factor. Meaning yung nagbabasa, hindi siya mahabaan or hindi siya maiiklian or makukulangan dun sa message that you're trying to write. So how do you manage this, diba? How do you manage the length? So of course, mag-draft ka muna. You follow yung who you are, why did you choose this program, why did you choose Canada, how you're gonna be able to fund it, what are your plans after studying, and really write it down in draft as comprehensive as you can. And then you edit out. Magbawas-bawas ka. How do you edit out? Goes into my next tip. Don't overshare. Your SOP is not it's a way for you to tell your story, but in as factual way as you can. Right? It doesn't mean na you have a sub story, and I know I may offend some people. I apologize. Don't mean that. Doesn't mean that if you make your story dramatic, you'll get an approval. I've seen some letters na may they really poured their heart out na their spouse passed away, that gave them some realization on stuff, or that they had a hard life before being able to get their success, and then it still got refused. So the way I see it is, how do you not overshare? Answer first those questions that we talked about earlier in the video. Sagutin muna natin yon. Wag muna tayo maglagay nung parang toppings, kumbaga. Kasi in writing, you can't be full on dramatic agad or everywhere, because you're gonna bore the reader, or you're gonna make them feel like, oh, this is like parang sadyang it's forced emotion, kumbaga. Again, I don't mean to offend anyone. Of course, lahat tayo meron tayong struggles in life, but your SOP, yung struggles na yon won't make that much of a difference, I believe. Another tip that I see for your reason, actually it falls into oversharing as well, is I've read a lot of reasons for choosing a study, yung realization. For me, realization is not that powerful of a word, especially when you're trying to convince someone. Kasi realization, kasi it's like a eureka moment, could be. But for me, wala siya masyadong legs. Hindi siya masyadong malakas. Versus, let's say you experienced the advent of new technology. That's why you're convinced that an information technology course is for you. After a year of experiencing, let's say, changes in business in your specific industry, versus realizations. Kasi karamihan sa nababasa kong SOP na may realizations is like after a moment they realize they want to study. After they saw that itong pandemic, let's say, was may mga business na nag-fail, they realized they wanted to put up their own. Planning to study abroad, uprooting yourself, or starting a new life in a different country is a very, very big undertaking. It's a big decision that I believe should be expressed better kung bakit mo naisip yun versus realization. So really take your time to elaborate or describe why your journey took you to that decision to study abroad. You also should make use of reviewing tools. As basic as writing your whole SOP, and since it's completely in English, if you write it in word processing programs like, let's say, MS Word or Google Docs, makikita nyo naman dyan na there are red underlines for wrong grammar or wrong pluralization. Basically, any typos will also be caught by those basic word processing programs. But a free tool that you can also install, lalo na kapag naka-Chrome browser ka. So, browser po is yung, ginagamit natin pang browse sa internet on your laptop. Okay? You can install a plugin called Grammarly, Grammarly. But since video, I think I'll just put their logo here somewhere. Grammarly. And Grammarly is a really good tool that even writers, I've known writers like myself or editors, use that tool a lot kasi yun binabasa even your choice of words. It suggests better combination or order or strings or sequences of words for you to use. So Grammarly, download it. Well, yung free version is really powerful. Di ka magsisisi that you did it. But of course, don't just rely on software to proofread or to review your SOP. Kasi nga, it is one of the most important documents you will submit. Make or break, kumbaga, ang SOP. So, don't just rely on software. Find someone, a friend or a person that you've talked to online who can proofread, kumbaga. Proofread your work. Even the best writers, even great writers I've worked with, hindi naman kasi nakukuha lahat yan ng mata mo lang. Especially if you're the one writing your letter, your content. There will be things you miss out because masyado kang malapit dun sa either kwento mo or dun sa words to use. You need pairs of eyes na tumitingin from a viewpoint or perspective na mas malayo kung nasan ka. There will be less biases on their part dun sa kwento mo in your SOP. So really would recommend people or you guys to find someone who can review your SOP. Avoid too much adjectives or too much descriptive words. So for people who are not that experienced in writing, minsan or karamihan sa nababasa ko mga SOPs have a lot of flowery words na unnecessary. Example, uniquely distinct. A uniquely distinct experience in, let's say, in Canada as an international student. Uniquely na nga distinct pa. So it's kind of redundant. And it doesn't add to what you're trying to say. If you want to say a great experience in Canada, then just say it's a great experience in Canada or a unique experience in Canada or a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You don't have to say a unique, once-in-a-lifetime, distinct experience. Another thing I also see would be yung mga, another example would be yung gracious good, with your gracious good guidance or your gracious approval. You don't have to, spend too much on describing words. It just pads or it just adds length to your SOP. Again, when we say length is relative, you also have to identify useless words. Useless, redundant. So when you say useless words, basahin nyo if it really adds anything to the message that you're trying to say in your SOP. Okay, so I think I covered all of my notes. I covered all of my notes for this video, and if anyone's interested to to see more or an actual SOP, kasi my plan is for another video I'll be sharing or screen sharing my actual SOP, guiding it through my thought process nung sinulat ko yon 2 years ago, kasi it's April 2022 as of recording of this video, April 10. Perhaps you could, click on that video somewhere. Haven't really figured out paano ba tong YouTube thing, but we have more content. Me and my family have more content planned to help out people such as ourselves, yung mga hopeful Canadian students. Syempre, if you haven't already, would really appreciate if you would, click like and subscribe. We plan to have other kinds of content like the specific documents that we gathered, paano namin nagawa yun, how we wrote SOPs, LOIs, etc. Maybe some other, because we had sponsors, deed of donation, etc. That would really, when I was doing the application, our family application, would really want to have a more actual or as close to actual as possible na explanation, and I hope that you're able to learn from this video as well. So I guess I'll just see you in the next video, and hopefully you learned as much as I did nung nag-apply ako, and you learned as much hopefully you learned from what I shared with you today, and apologies if I over talk. Yun naman ang problem ko when talking. Hindi mo kasi may edit masyado yung talk unless you edit in the video. But anyway, so this is what's happening this season. This is Julian. See you soon.